Have you ever really stopped to think about it? That song on your radio or the show you're watching on TV, how does it actually get to you? It's this incredible kind of invisible journey. And today, we're going to follow that signal, step by step, from the studio right to your screen.
All right, just a quick heads up. This is part 39 of a big 40-part series we're doing on modern broadcast transmission. But hey, don't worry if you haven't seen the others. Today, we're kind of putting all the pieces together to see the whole journey. It's a really fascinating look at the engineering that powers so much of what we listen to and watch every day.
So yeah, think about it for a second. How does a voice from a studio, smack in the middle of a city, end up in your car radio while you're driving down some remote highway? It's definitely not magic, right? It's more like a really carefully choreographed journey with a bunch of critical stops along the way.
And you might think that journey starts at some giant antenna, but it doesn't. It actually begins somewhere much quieter, in the controlled environment of a broadcast studio. This is where every single sound is meticulously crafted before it's even ready to start its trip through the airwaves.
Okay, so this first part of the trip is all about prep work. The signal comes out of the mixing board, then it hits an audio processor to get it broadcast ready. After that, a special link, we'll talk more about that in a sec, carries it over to the transmitter site. You can think of each step like a checkpoint, just making absolutely sure the signal is perfect before the real magic, the transmission, can even begin.
This audio processing, this is where a station really gets its unique signature sound. It's not just about making things loud, it's a real art form. Engineers use these incredible tools like multiband compression, and that's basically like having a tiny, super smart sound engineer for every single frequency, tweaking things so the audio sounds amazing whether you're listening on cheap earbuds or a giant home theater system.
And just look at this. This picture is basically the evolution of broadcasting in one shot. See those classic, chunky analog connectors? They're right next to your standard modern network ports, for the internet. It's this fusion of the old and the new that really gives modern broadcasting its incredible reliability and flexibility.
Okay, so you've got this perfectly crafted signal in a studio downtown, but the transmitter is way out on some distant mountain. How do you get it there? Well, that is the job of the studio-to-transmitter link, or what everyone calls the STL. It's literally like a private, high-speed digital highway just for that signal. And it uses all sorts of tech, microwave beams, fiber optics, you name it, just to make sure that journey is absolutely flawless.
All right, we have now arrived at the heart of our journey, the transmitter site. This place is so cool. It's where the super precise world of digital IT meets the raw brute force power of radio frequency engineering. I love this part. It's a perfect blend of brains and brawn.
And to really get how amazing today's tech is, you got to look back at the old stuff. I mean, old tube transmitters were these room-sized, power-guzzling monsters. They needed constant and frankly dangerous maintenance. Compare that to today's solid-state transmitters. They're the size of a rack. They're super efficient and so reliable you can often fix them without even taking the station off the air. That's not just an improvement, that is a total revolution. So, inside the transmitter, the first stop is what we call the brain, the digital exciter. Just think of this thing as the composer for the broadcast signal. It uses pure mathematics to create everything, the stereo sound, the artist and song title that pops up on your radio, all of it. And it does it with an accuracy that's just mind-boggling, like 1 part per billion.
Okay. After the brain comes the muscle, the power amplifier. This is what gives the signal the oomph it needs to travel for miles and miles. But its real superpower? Reliability. It's made of all these little modules. If one fails, no big deal. The others just work a little harder to pick up the slack, and the station stays on the air. It's a concept called graceful degradation, and for broadcasters, it is an absolute game changer.
So, we've got this perfect, super powerful signal, but it's still stuck inside a cable. The final step, and this is maybe the most magical part, is setting it free. It's about transforming that electricity into an invisible wave that can just sail across cities and over mountains. This is what we call the Great Antenna Leap. Just take a look at these two towers. They look totally different, right? And there's a really good reason for that. For AM radio, that whole tower on the left is the antenna, the entire structure. But for FM and TV, the huge tower on the right is really just a big scaffold to hold the much smaller, more specialized antennas way up at the top. It all comes down to the physics of the frequencies they're using.
And here's the why behind those different looks. AM signals, they kind of hug the ground, following the curve of the Earth like a car on a road. And at night, they can do this cool thing where they skip off the atmosphere and travel for hundreds of miles. But FM and TV signals, they're more like a laser beam.
They travel in a perfectly straight line, so for them, height is everything. The higher up you can get that antenna, the farther it can see over the horizon. So far, we've mostly been talking about the classic analog way of broadcasting. But over the last couple of decades, a digital revolution has completely changed the game. And I'm not just talking about a small upgrade. This was a total reinvention of what broadcasting could even do.
And you can see from this timeline, the move to digital wasn't some accident. It was a very deliberate, planned-out evolution. It started with HD radio, then came that huge switch over to digital TV, and now we're moving into a whole new era with standards that let us do things like send 4K video right through the air to your TV. It's incredible.
So what does this digital upgrade actually mean for you, the listener or viewer? Well, for starters, it means CD-quality sound on your FM radio. And for the very first time, actual stereo sound on AM radio. But the real game changer is the ability to cram more stuff into each broadcast. More channels, more data like album art, and just a way richer experience all around.
This is a feature called multicasting, and it's awesome. It's like finding secret bonus levels on your favorite radio station. So your go-to rock station is on HD1, but then you find out they have a classic rock deep cut station on HD2 and maybe a 24/7 local news channel on HD3. It opens up this whole new world of choice, all on the exact same frequency.
And all of these amazing digital advancements, they're all powered by one last super important piece of the puzzle, the IP revolution. I mean, the same internet technology that connects our computers and our phones is now right at the heart of broadcasting, and it's making everything smarter, greener, and more powerful than ever before.
Check out this number, 42%. That's a real number. It's how much one station slashed its annual energy bill just by upgrading to a modern transmitter. I mean, just imagine cutting your home electricity bill by almost half. That is a massive win, not just for the station's budget, but for the environment too.
So, how in the world do they get savings like that? Well, with smart technology like something called MDCL+. Think of it like a smart thermostat for the transmitter. During the quiet parts of a song, or when someone pauses in conversation, it automatically dials down the power. Then, the instant things get loud again, it brings it right back up. You, the listener, don't hear a single thing, but the energy savings are just enormous. And this right here is the ultimate example of that IP revolution. The old days of an engineer having to be physically at the transmitter site 24/7, those are over. Now, they can monitor and control everything from a laptop, whether they're down the hall or on a beach halfway around the world, all through a secure web dashboard that looks just like this. And there you have it, the whole journey, from a voice, just a whisper in a studio, to a powerful wave surfing through the air. It really is a symphony of technology that's happening every single second of every day. It's this beautiful, invisible dance of engineering that brings our whole world of media to life.
So that begs the question, right? Where do we go from here? We've got broadcasting that can be controlled from the cloud, that can deliver video so sharp it's unreal, right over the air. What do you think the next big frontier is for this incredible technology? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for joining me on this journey.